If you're a real cowboy, prove it on my stallion. Says the widow. 25 men failed, lonely cowboy won. The sun burned low on the horizon, painting the dusty plains in hues of orange and crimson, when the story began in a small town where whispers carried faster than the wind. There was a widow, Eleanor Graves, a woman of beauty and mystery, who owned a legendary stallion known across the county as Thunderstrike, a jet-black horse with eyes that burned like embers and a spirit that no man had ever tamed. For years, men had tried, 25 of them, strong and confident, arrogant in their bravado, thinking themselves capable of controlling the beast. Yet one by one, they fell, thrown to the unforgiving earth, leaving behind bruises, broken pride, and cautionary tales for those foolish enough to challenge her. Eleanor, clad in a simple dress that belied the fire in her soul, stood by the barn each morning, watching the horizon with patience and quiet anticipation, a hint of a smile curling her lips, as though daring someone worthy to step forward. The town whispered about her challenge in hushed tones in saloons and general stores, speaking of the man bold enough to ride Thunderstrike, though none had succeeded. It was not the thrill of winning that drove Eleanor, nor the curiosity of testing men, but a deeper longing, a desire for someone who could see past her widowhood, past the loss she carried like a shadow, and prove themselves not only brave but steadfast, a man whose heart was as unshakable as the plains themselves. On this fateful day, a lone cowboy arrived on the edge of town, his hat pulled low against the sun, a dusty coat brushing his knees, and boots scuffed from a lifetime of solitude. His name was Cole Maddox, a man with a past whispered about in stories of survival and quiet heroism, yet no one truly knew the weight of the loss he carried in his own heart. He had wandered these lands for years, chasing freedom and silence, avoiding towns and trouble alike, until something about the rumors of Eleanor's challenge drew him, not out of greed or pride, but curiosity, the kind that pricks a man's soul when he feels the pull of destiny. The townsfolk watched him approach the Graves property, suspicion and excitement flickering in their eyes. He tipped his hat politely, acknowledging Eleanor from a distance, and when she spoke, her voice clear and commanding, cutting through the chatter of the wind, she said, "If you're a real cowboy, prove it on my stallion." Cole's jaw tightened, and a calm resolve settled over him like armor. He had heard of the 25 who had fallen, yet fear had never been a companion to him, only respect for forces stronger than himself. The air seemed to pause, every rustle of grass and distant crow echoing with tension as he walked toward Thunderstrike. The horse snorted, nostrils flaring, muscles coiled like springs, its gaze piercing through Cole, as if testing the mettle of the man who dared approach. Eleanor watched silently, her heart pounding, a rare vulnerability betraying her composed exterior, for she had never seen anyone move with such quiet confidence, such controlled purpose. Cole did not rush, he studied Thunderstrike, letting the stallion sense his patience, his calm energy, and slowly reached for the reins, not with force, but with understanding, whispering soft encouragement that only a man who truly knew horses could offer. The onlookers held their breath, seeing the contrast between Cole's steady movements and the chaotic attempts of the previous riders. Thunderstrike shifted uneasily, yet something in Cole's presence coaxed him, a recognition of respect, and the horse circled him, testing, measuring, until finally, with a movement both daring and harmonious, Cole swung into the saddle, hands firm yet gentle. For a heartbeat, the world seemed to hold its breath, the dust swirled around the riders, the wind carried distant calls of crows, and the silence between man and beast spoke louder than any words. Thunderstrike reared, hooves thundering against the earth, but Cole's grip and balance never wavered. He whispered again, soft as a prayer, and the stallion bowed to his patience, the battle of wills transforming into a dance of trust. Eleanor's eyes glistened, a smile breaking across her face, the first in years, as the crowd erupted in disbelief. Cole had not only ridden Thunderstrike, he had tamed the untamable without breaking its spirit, proving a harmony between strength and respect, bravery and understanding. And in that moment, as he guided the stallion in slow, controlled circles, Eleanor felt something stir deep in her heart, a hope she thought long buried, that perhaps she had finally found the man who could see her not as a challenge, but as a partner. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the plains, Eleanor extended a hand to Cole, her voice soft but charged with emotion, "Welcome." You've done what no other could. You've earned more than my respect, you've earned my trust. Cole took her hand, the connection unspoken but undeniable, and the townsfolk, who had come expecting drama, instead witnessed the birth of a bond forged in courage, patience, and the silent understanding that some victories are not of pride but of heart. And as Eleanor and Cole walked back to the barn, the whisper rippled through the town: the lonely cowboy had succeeded where 25 men had failed, a story that would be told for generations. And if you are watching this story unfold, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to witness more tales of courage, heart, and the spirit of the West. The days that followed were unlike any the town had seen. Whispers of Cole's success traveled faster than wildfire across the prairie, and yet the victory was only the beginning. Eleanor and Cole spent mornings tending Thunderstrike together, a rhythm forming between them, each learning from the other, blending strength with patience, solitude with companionship. Cole's presence in the town stirred both admiration and envy. Men who had previously attempted the challenge watched him with a mix of awe and resentment, while children followed him in wide-eyed fascination, learning from a man who carried both mystery and wisdom. But the plains are never quiet for long, and soon, trouble arrived in the form of a band of outlaws who had been raiding settlements along the riverbeds, notorious for their brutality and cunning. The sheriff, a weary man who had long respected Cole from tales whispered in saloons, approached him with urgency. "We could use a man like you." Cole nodded silently, knowing the peace he had found with Eleanor was fragile, yet courage demanded action. Eleanor, though terrified for his safety, refused to let him face danger alone. She stood by his side, a fierce protector, determined to show that strength was not solely measured in physical prowess but in loyalty and heart. Together, they rode out on Thunderstrike, moving like shadows across the plains, tracking the outlaws with precision and insight, Cole guiding the horse with unmatched skill, Eleanor offering strategies drawn from intuition honed by survival. The confrontation was inevitable. The outlaws cornered them on a narrow ridge, weapons drawn, faces twisted with greed and defiance. But Cole's calm demeanor, his eyes steady and unflinching, projected a confidence that made even the hardened men hesitate. Thunderstrike pawed the ground, sensing the tension, and Eleanor, with a voice that rang with authority, challenged them: "You will not take what does not belong to you." The outlaws laughed, underestimating both the widow and the cowboy, but the laughter died quickly as Cole moved with the fluidity of a man who understood the land, the horse, and the heart of a true fighter. The battle was swift yet calculated. Cole's mastery of horseback and marksmanship, combined with Eleanor's fearless determination, forced the outlaws to retreat, leaving their spoils behind and a story of defeat that would follow them for years. Returning to town, Cole and Eleanor were met with awe and gratitude. The townsfolk marveled at the union of courage and compassion, realizing that true heroism was not merely in skill or strength but in the willingness to protect what one loved, even at great risk. Nights were spent around the fire, where Eleanor and Cole shared stories of loss and dreams, each word knitting their hearts closer, each laugh and shared silence deepening the bond formed on the plains. Thunderstrike became not only a symbol of triumph but a reminder of the trust and patience that bridged two solitary souls, proving that sometimes, the strongest connections are forged not through domination, but understanding and respect. As the seasons changed, the town began to flourish under their influence, inspired by the legend of the cowboy who rode the unrideable and the widow who dared to believe in him. And for viewers watching this story, remember, courage is not the absence of fear, it is acting despite it. Every person has a Thunderstrike in their life, a challenge that seems impossible, yet with patience, respect, and determination, even the untamable can be conquered. So subscribe to the channel to follow more incredible stories of bravery, heart, and the untamed spirit of the West, where ordinary lives become extraordinary legends, and heroes are made not only by skill but by the courage to face what others cannot. The legacy of Cole and Eleanor would be remembered for generations, their story whispered in the winds across the prairie, a timeless testament to the power of trust, resilience, and love born amidst the dust and danger of the untamed frontier.